This is a dead zone, and then he gave up the home run. How much bullpen usage is too much? Everyone asked me, are we just going to throw bullpen guys? Is this going to be what we're going to do now? And I say no for many, many reasons. Throwing your relievers so much eventually doesn't work out. There is such thing as throwing too much, and historically, the number is about 70 appearances during the season. So let me break this down for you. Do you guys know who Eddie Guardado is? Gained the nickname Everyday Eddie when one year he threw 83 times in a year, 83 appearances in the regular season. Does anyone have a guess on what his ERA was that year? Yes, Miggy, you are correct. It was a 5.5. Then he became the closer of the Mariners. Did he ever throw over 70 times in a year for the Mariners? No. His average ERA was a 2.8.
Coincidence? I think not.
I once asked him, Eddie, do you think if you didn't throw 83 times, maybe if you threw like 70 times, that you would have had a better year? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, cool nickname.
Boom. Roasted.
So, more games gives you more opportunities to be less fresh and therefore give up a lot of runs. And over time, leads to worse seasons, okay? Mike Marshall, 1974. The 70s don't count. They don't, because that guy was throwing probably 84. He's probably spitting on the ball, guffing it up, dip, diving, and dodging guys, taking greenies. The things these guys did, they didn't even know how hard they were throwing. So, like, good luck doing that now. You can't, because you have to throw hard or you don't get the job unless you're Phil Maton. So, my point is, your stuff diminishes, and then when you get to the playoffs and your starters don't go deep, you're in higher stress, and you are actually burning your arm way faster than you would in the regular season. So I have three guys to present to you. We got Tim Herrin, Hunter Gaddis, and Cade Smith. Three of the big guys for the Cleveland Guardians. Hunter Gaddis threw 78 times in the regular season. Tim Herrin, 75 appearances. Cade Smith, 74 appearances. Guys, the sweet spot for relief appearances is anywhere from 65 to like 68 in the regular season, and then go into the playoffs. That's the sweet spot. I think Clase threw 75 times as well. So when you have four guys that throw 70 plus times, not good. So these are all the games that they threw in the playoffs. And these are all types of metrics that I look at when determining fatigue. These are all metrics that can be affected by you having less energy. And I want you to pay attention to this. So for all three of these guys, these are all their fastballs, because their fastballs are their best pitch. And also you can like make up for off-speed stuff, keeping numbers up, but you can't for fastballs. You can't fake it. Does that make sense? Look at what happened over time. So here's what we look at. We look at velocity of their fastball, the spin rate on it, because basically velocity and spin rate are directly correlated with the speed that your arm is going. Extension, though, extension is your legs. And then horizontal and vertical induced vertical break are the spin axis and the crispness of it. So like, if everything's off and tired a little bit, your hand might get in a little bit of a different position, and you might lose vertical or you might lose horizontal. So if I'm like, is this guy getting tired? These are the 5 things I'll look at. But the big thing that happened from all three of these guys is their extension. Cade Smith lost spin rate. He had the lowest spin rate in his last outing. His average on the year was 7.42 feet of extension, which is like the best in the league. And then here's game after game: 745, 749, 744, 751, 744, 744, 755. And then what happened? The day gave up the home run, 717, and then yesterday, 7.2. And his velo dropped too. Slowly went down over time. He lost extension, he lost spin, and he lost vert. This is a dead zone. He had a dead zone fastball, and he lost extension, and then he gave up the home run.
Stand the high fly ball up into the bleachers.
Extension is what makes these guys so good, is because they're big. Cade Smith is a monster. Tim Herrin, not down as much because he was average 669. Nice. But he was down a little bit. Now he survived because his velo stayed up a little bit, but even he lost his vert. And then we have Hunter Gaddis. Look, average 688. He was 634 and 6'4". They all lost 4 inches on their extension in the playoffs. This was his 9th appearance in the playoffs. So this was his 83rd appearance right here. This is 8. This was his 83rd appearance. And this for him was his 87th appearance. Do these coaches and bench have these numbers in real time? Yes, but you don't have a choice. You do not have a choice but pitch them. You just have to roll the dice. But This is what happens when you use your bullpen this much and then expect them to use them 1.5 times as much in the playoffs. They're not going to be able to avoid that big inning, especially when fastballs are important parts of their repertoires. Their fastball is a representation of how tired they are. If you see these things happen to their fastball, it's probably happening in some way, shape, or form to the other pitches. Do you think this is more of a symptom of overuse short-term or long-term? It's both. It happens in both ways. I'm not against doing it. Like, they had to do it. These guys had to pitch, but they went into the playoffs with this as their strategy. When this, baseball is a combination of great bullpen eating up good innings and doing a great job, and then starters picking them up for a bit and letting the bullpen not get taxed, and then the bullpen taking over again and do it. And it's got to be that's the give and take. Guys who throw more innings save the bullpen, and vice versa. The bullpen then picks up guys that struggle. You can't have one side struggle the whole time and one side pick up all the slack, because eventually it falls apart, especially when you don't have an offense that's kicking like them. So what's the magic number of appearances you standard? You should be between 65 and 70. That's a full year. That means you got adequate rest and you threw with 40% of the games. That means you were a big part of the team. You have enough experience, but you also have this extra. You want to have like 80 max by the end of the playoffs, if that makes sense. When you're Mariano Rivera, you can get away with it. Mariano Rivera wasn't throwing as hard as he could. Mariano Rivera was throwing 91, 92. He was just throwing cutter. He threw one pitch. And Mo is also kind of a unicorn. But also, Mo didn't throw 78 times in a year, ever. So the guys who throw a ton and then they fall apart, like the best thing that ever happened to Liam Hendricks got abused in Oakland. He did. He pitched 75 times every freaking year, and then COVID happened and he got some time off. That allowed him to go have that year for Chicago, and then Tommy John and all the stuff he's gone through. I mean, I'm not going to say that the cancer had anything to do with it, but like everything hit him at once. That's what happens when you pitch this much. You have to have time off. I know starters that like take a 2-week IL stint and just pitch 29 times a year just so they can have a break in the middle of the year. That's the way it works. So like as a strategy, it can't be the only thing you do. But why does it work for Tommy Kahnle? First of all, Tommy Kahnle has only thrown 52 times. I know he came off injury, but let's look at this. He's only pitched 6 times this playoff. These guys are 8 and 9. He threw 52 times on the year, and he throws only changeups. So here's the difference in changeups. Spin does not matter with your changeup. If you're tired, your changeup could get better. So he throws a pitch that, with fatigue, doesn't lose its effectiveness as much as other pitches. His extension stayed just generally the same, though at the end he got a little tired in the last one. He'd thrown quite a bit, and his horizontal break stayed good. This is all he needs for this pitch to be effective. He's had a couple days where it was carrying for some reason, and a couple days where it was like a splitter. But if that's your pitch, you could throw changeups forever. You're going to get less fatigued, and you're going to lose less effectiveness over time. Now you're like, okay, but how can you throw 50 straight changeups in a row without them figuring it out? Sliders and changeups, they are not consciously used as much as a difference in velocity pitch. They're used as movement pitches. Tommy Kahnle wants horizontal break on his changeup. He wants it to move. He's not trying to just throw it slow. He's trying to throw it so it moves a lot. It's a movement pitch. Functions like a splitter. It's a movement pitch. Sliders that are 88 are movement pitches. They are not change in velocity pitches. There is a little bit there, but when you throw 96 with an 88-mile-an-hour slider, you're not trying to fool them with differences in velocity. You're trying to fool them with movement. What's his vert on his change? 1.6 on this one, 13 on this one. A little interesting. The variation in it actually makes it better.